Love News in 2022 captured Akunta Mining Limited and other illegal miners polluting the Tano River at Samreboy in the western region. We uncovered irresponsible mining polluting the Tano at various points in communities like Atala, Ohiampenika, and Datano sections of the river. A year after producing the Distraction for Gold documentary, we went back to Samreboy to gauge the situation on the ground. The miners have abandoned posts and left behind deep pits and gullies they created along the Tano River. Ofusua Sare Samuel is the assembly member for the Mumuni electoral area.
After your last documentary, those that they were in operation, they left the community or they left the site. They are no more here or destroying the land.
But our tour of the adjoining villages along the Tano revealed disturbing pictures of direct active mining in the Tano River with residues directed into the Tano. Shamfan operators and illegal miners currently sit on the river at various points. These Chinese miners were spotted at Boya, a farming community, driving the excavators and operating the mine themselves, contrary to mining regulations. This is purely illegal. There is no buffer between the Tano River and what they are doing. And if you see in the distance, there is a washing bay sitting at the edge of the tunnel, washing directly into the river. This is purely criminal. Close to the airstrip at Samreboy, these two Chinese nationals were found operating this mine, which seems to be violating the government's buffer zone policy for mining close to major water bodies like the Tano River. They told me the site belongs to Akunta Mining Limited.
You go drop me bojo. This side, Akunta people. Yeah.
Officials of Akunta Mining will not respond to the claims. The devastated Atala, Ohiampenika, and Datano lands fall into the concession of Unipower Mining Company Limited. But even before Unipower could complete its licensing processes to start mining, large parts of its concession have been invaded by illegal miners. David Thompson is Corporate Affairs Manager.
Whilst we acquired it, over a period of time, illegal miners started to come onto the concession. We tried to engage them in a cordial manner to try and say, hey gentlemen, this is illegal mining. We didn't really get too far in that negotiation. Therefore, we informed the Mineral Commission. So we engaged the military to remove them. They were removed, and then subsequently they started to come back again.
David speaks of the dangers of mining in the River Tano, calling for urgent steps to control the practice.
Any activity on any of the rivers, straight away it's like, surely people, please, this is going nowhere for you. You're going to make a quick buck. How long is it going to last? But the decimation, the catastrophe that you're leaving behind is shocking. The poisons, the colours of the water, the local indigenous people who wash their clothes from that river, who are drinking and using to cook their food from that river. I mean, it's a travesty. And I really believe that should stop an awful lot of the illegal mining on the rivers immediately.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Atala, Ohiampenika, Samreboy, Western Region.
Following the arrest of the miners, a group of aggrieved illegal miners painted police military team called to maintain order. A reinforced security team responded with warning shots to disperse the angry miners who smashed windows and windscreen of a bus and a pickup vehicle belonging to Arugut Ashanti. The Obuasi East District Security Council says less than 100 miners had invaded the concession illegally with 71 of them going underground. Chairperson of DISEC, Faustina Amisa, tells Joy News the last batch of miners were accosted to the police station Tuesday afternoon.
By the close of Monday, 7 of them had come out. 1 was able to escape, and then the 6 were given to the police and later granted bail. As I speak with you, 87 had come out about an hour ago, and they were given to the police. Their statements were taken. Some were granted bail, but I'm sure by now all of them had been given bail. So the town is calm. Everybody is going up and down with their normal duties. Everything is under control. But could you believe, yesterday, whilst we were persuading them to come for the bus, others were also coming from home. They are now going to underground through some of the illegal holes.
According to sources, the illegal miners were bent on carrying their stolen booty to their destination, hence the failure to move out of the tunnel. Kojo Jemfi, a journalist, joined security personnel, officials of the Minerals Commission and the DCE for the area to plead with the miners to surrender.
We were there, myself and host of Minerals Commission, Mining Inspectorate, we were there. And they opened the gate for the young men to come out. But for fear of being arrested, they defied the orders to come out. So of the truth, in court, they weren't trapped. They were hesitant to come out for fear of being arrested.
His account was corroborated by Tahiru Gadu, an executive member of the Small Scale Miners Association, who secured bail for many of the miners.
They were not trapped willingly. And omuko say omuko pe omanu aduane abeti. Na unfortunately no, on their part no, baby omufa room no. Me say mine no so leadership no ehuye. And na omuko sili ho omuko kata baby omufa room no ano. That's just say they can no go back where they went through. The only alternative way umuwoye say omasan pass it through the mine tunnel inside the mine, and also obviously impossible. Upia not just a wahane over to the mine security.
District Chief Executive for Boise East, Faustina Amisa, explained the rationale behind the action of the miners.
When they go through their own assets and coming back, they realize that their own assets had been blocked. They exaggerate things, and then the whole thing will seem like people are dying so that they will get public sympathy. A lot of people bought them. That is why I like Joy News. They take their time, they investigate before they come out.
From Obuasi, for Joy News, Oyinitibia reporting.
The survival of a few through illegal means threatens our collective survival. So we cannot continue to look on, watch as the very few lead us the path of destruction. The state has awesome powers to be able to clamp down illegal mining. The state has enough money to redirect the energies of the people involved in this existential threat. The state cannot have excuse for what is going on. The state began the process elevating the fight under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He actually pledged his presidency to this. Unfortunately, he appears, and his government appear to have given up. You can't give up. This is your job. This is why we voted you into office. Now, This first segment is part of the reason you haven't heard me deliver Samson's take. So allow me the room of commentary. As you have followed, 87 illegal miners have safely exited the AngloGold Ashanti mine shafts. The miners were scared of arrest upon exit because police officers had been stationed right at the exit to pick them for doing the wrong thing. Initially, we were told they numbered 300 or in excess of 200. Well, this is the number that is out now. They are all in police custody. Well, some, we understand, were granted bail and no injuries reported. In March, Golden Star Wasa Limited had illegal miners attack its Benso sites. They set buildings and vehicles alight, perhaps emulating how the state was using illegal and unconstitutional means to destroy, what do you call them? Excavators. So they also took some inspiration and began to do that to people's private property, people who have a license to mine and who are giving money and paying tax to the state. In 2022, we heard of stories of trapped illegal miners. Talking about similar events, we had 11 Galamseyers who got trapped in a pit at Ahwem. Illegal miners sneaked into pit belonging to AngloGold. Once again, they were scared that if they came out, they would be arrested. They spent 5 days in the pit. The company was alleged to have neglected the pit for 12 years. So they felt we could go in there. As you know, at the start of 2017, the president and his government bought into the media coalition against Galamsey, led by Dr. Ken Achigbe, and decided to change what it had promised in elections and adopt what the media began to do. Simply stop Galamsey. Over 200,000 people were engaged in Galamsey, officially we were told. Nearly 3 million, we are told, rely on Galamsey for their livelihoods. Ghana attracted 50,000 gold seekers from China alone, 50,000 gold seekers from China alone. More than 19,000 hectares, or about 2% of cocoa plantations, were destroyed or have been destroyed by operators. Cocoa. Remember what cocoa represents for your country. Okay. Once again, AngloGold was accused of neglecting the place for about 12 years. Now, what is going on? We have laws, we have policies that say that we have a buffer zone that needs protection to improve water quality, influence local climate, and conserve wildlife. We want to protect and regenerate and maintain vegetation. So in fact, the government has been doing a tree planting exercise. A lot of millions go into that. So why are we allowing Galamseyers, a very small community of the country, to destroy everything? That is the big question. Rastos, thank you very much for joining us once again. He has gone back to some of the mining sites, and you heard his story. Illegal miners have taken over the river tunnel in renewed onslaught on the already polluted major water sources. Doctors, physicians have been telling us in the last few weeks the real medical effects. This is science, not some rumor. the people who are actually in it are also affected, but the state has a responsibility to protect them from killing themselves. The deaths that are being recorded, the cyanide is destroying not only food and fruits, among others, but it's actually killing people directly. The Environmental Protection Agency reveals disturbing levels of mercury concentration in the river. I'm talking about Tano, and in the river in Samraboy, the catch point there. After concession owners engaged security agencies to flush out the miners last year, Erastus reports that the activities continue in polluting the river Tano. Erastus, so what led to your decision to go back to check on this? Because the Ghanaian media is known to touch and leave. Just tell the story as it happens, and then you go to sleep.
Well, Samson, I have 3 children. I see this as an existential threat. It's personal because the water that is being pumped into your homes, you cannot guarantee 100% that you don't have traces of heavy metals in them. And so to sit aloof and say, I've done a documentary and it's there, and so people should act, they are not acting, and just give up, it's not an answer.
We realized that Love FM recently, hosted some, physicians, and they revealed very disturbing stuff that is happening as a result of Galamsey. Perhaps, is that what was the trigger for you?
In fact, that was on the back of my initial interview, which has started this whole, as part of my documentary, the second part of Distraction for Gold. So I got to interview Professor Sampini, and out of that, Love FM's show decided to pick parts of it for discussion. And when we finished the documentary, which of course is being co-sponsored by Trust Africa, an NGO, you will get to see what you heard the professor say is just the tip of the iceberg. If you see the visuals of the children who have died with deformities, they died with their mothers. And if you look at the levels of mercury concentration, some of them levels of cadmium, arsenic, and other heavy metals, it's shocking. And if you get to listen to the doctors we've been interviewing, from Samraboy to Achrebuanda, to the Pra Basin, then you get to know that this is not something that as a country we should be sitting on. By now, people should be running helter-skelter, like there's fire on the mountain, moving every muscle to try to curb this. Because wherever we've gone, and in fact we've been moving to Western region, we've gone a lot into Western region. Yesterday we were in the Central region. We are now going and moving into the Ofin and the Oda. And something, now people have made it their business to really sit on the riverbed and mine.
You seem to point us to a certain impunity, perhaps also resulting from state actions against the fight. The president has been accused, rightly, for instead of, through some of your work, Akonta mining that is owned by the Ashanti regional chairman of his party, was indicted by the state, confirming what you saw there. The Lands and Natural Ministry, all the parties involved, came to the inescapable conclusion that he was mining in the forest without the license to do so. And the president later mounted, a platform and appeared to, as it were, defend him and exonerate him. We have heard all the lame excuses and explanations to that. But people say if people like that are not being prosecuted, that's what empowers impunity in these areas. Is that what you think is leading to these people feeling so bold, returning after, scaring military, fully armed, have been there to drive them away from the place?
You hit the nail right on the head. And let me tell you this, as part of the documentary anyway. So we went back to Samra Boy. And can you imagine that the president told us that currently Akonta mining is not mining in any forest. Well, they are not in the forest at the moment. The devastation they left in the forest, the Tanonimri forest, is still there uncovered. Now, because the company was not punished, we counted over 500 miners in the Tanonimri forest as we speak. Over 500 of them, in fact, some of them Burkinabés. We spoke to them, they do not speak English, they speak French. And they are in there. And it will shock you to know that they are not using excavators this time, so they go unnoticed. They are using pickers and mattock. And the rate at which they are felling trees. I interviewed one of them. How do you fell such a big tree? And he said, it takes me 5 days. So they dig beneath the tree. They dig beneath the tree for 5 days. And boom, it goes down.
And that's the first illegality, because they cannot be doing that to the trees.
Yes, and they don't harvest it. They don't do anything to it. So when we flew the drone, you could see large tracts of the forest with trees lying down, rotting.
Please, let's have the footage roll as Erastus is speaking. Let's have the footage, mute the voice, and let's have it roll as you're speaking. Please go on.
And something, if you know the Samra Boy area very well, the only livelihood, the only company that gives people jobs in that area is Samatex. That's the wood logging company. And where this is happening and where Akonta went is part of their concession. Trees they've been cutting and growing for years have been now felled with reckless abandon. And wherever we go, you see the emboldened illegal miners, some of them within forests. We've gone to a number of forests that the president says have been cordoned off. And there is no cordoning off in any way. They are in there. One of them approached us, told us that, well, he cannot do any job apart from that. He believes that this is chop and chop. So we should not do the story, and he's going to give us every 2 weeks, he will make sure that we get some money in our pocket. Well, I'm saying it now because we are going to fly the story very soon. And you know where this man is hiding in a forest with excavators cutting down a number of trees and doing illegal mining in there. So wherever we are going, we are seeing impunity. And mining is happening in the full glare, where if you're passing by, you just see it. And there are police personnel all over. Nobody's doing anything. The DCs are riding past by. Nobody's saying anything. Wasa Dadieso, Wasa Akrupong, Jama, all in the western region. Awaso, in the forest over there, we saw a number of excavators in there. We go to Mrewa, Seshibekwai. In there are people in the forest there mining. There's a place, I've forgotten the name now. It's closer to Seshibekwai. It's a big forest. And they are in there. So I asked one DC, why are you not arresting them? Why are you not doing this? He tells me that, well, some of these people come with all manner of excuses.
Erastus, hold on. The footage that we just see go by, we are seeing, that's what you call, is it the Shamfan that we see on
this one, okay, what I'm seeing on my screen right now is the excavator.
No, that just went past, you know. In the water bodies on the river, we are coming back to there. you see this thing, it looks like some mini champagnes or so. I was seeking to ask you because as far as we understand, there are no champagnes anymore in this country on any river. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this what you're seeing right now is on the Tano River.
Okay, what is it?
Yeah, this is the champagne machine.
Champagne machines.
And yes, it's mounted on a raft, and you see the long pole they are using to dig into the riverbed.
No,
and
correct
so
me. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you have paid a lot of focus and attention to this area. Have we not been told that you won't find a single champagne on any water body in this country today?
Well, whoever said it perhaps is tickling himself and laughing. Maybe he's in a different world, a different planet. Go to the Ofin River as we speak. Fly your drone over the river in areas like Abumpe, Abesia, and Beposo. They are there. Over 200 of them sitting on the river mining. Go to we rode on the Ankobra River for
Tell me you are exaggerating this. Tell me you are exaggerating this. Over 200 champagnes and a machine that has been declared completely illegal, and that we can't find a single one of them in this country. There are as many as over 200, and those in charge cannot see.
But something, even on our way to some of these river bodies, new champagnes are being built by the roadside. Where are they taking them? They are building them, as we speak. It's by the roadside. You see them mounting them by the roadside. They are selling them. What do they use it for? To mail maize or what? We went on the Ankobra, like I was saying. We were in a boat. We wanted to know how the Ankobra is being polluted. And that was after the deputy minister came up with these false images of the Ankobra clearing. And you see at Douale on the river, Ankobra, there is a host of champagne machines sitting on the river there. You go to Anwolenzo, you see a number of champagnes on the Ankobra at that point. There are some at Banso as well. You go to Dominase after the bridge on the Ankobra, there are some sitting on it there. Go to Pristia, Bogoso, right just a few meters from under the bridge. On the Ankobra, there are champagnes, a number of them sitting there. And I'm not just saying it, we have videos that we picked. And they are there. If you search for my video from the Ankobra River, the true nature of the Ankobra, you will see these videos. They are there. So nobody is painting any picture. Now, champagnes are being used more on the major rivers. A number of them we saw at various points. And the DC himself confirms it to me that, yes, the champagnes are sitting on the river, but his excuse is that the river has stones in it. And so the Navy, when they came to drive them away recently, they lost some of their men. So he's looking for equipment to remove the stones. Okay. And then they will get the boat.
Erastus, the more we do this, the more depressed I get. But you see, it's not easy to give up on this country. I said a while ago to some friends. Because, look, and these people are destroying themselves, destroying everybody else in the process. So, Erasmus, from what you have seen, what will be the one or two recommendations you make so that we can take leave of you? You can take leave of us.
The people should rise up. If you know that this devastating effects, they have health impact, dire health consequences. We went to Atrebuanda yesterday, and something, the river is the only source of water. And so what they do, they sell a lot of alum in that area. And I was asking them what they use it for. They fetch the water, and they use the alum to separate the particles.
Oh, no.
And they try to use it. So I told them they use it to wash their utensils, they use it to wash their clothes. And I asked them, are you drinking this?
Erasmus, thank you very much. Thank you. And we continue to pray with you and hope that you are safe. You are not sponsored by the state, so to speak, so you don't have security around you. Even when you have done good work, people who now can claim that they can become presidents of this country have sat on national TV to threaten you that you should be beaten up. You know, I mean, that's the joke we make of this very serious country, otherwise serious country. How does it get that way? A member of parliament, sitting member of parliament, who the president finds and deems fit to be head of a committee as serious as regarding security matters in parliament, has a record of threatening people on live TV, threatening journalists and they get killed. You know, this is a journalist doing this job for this country and he threatens him, says how he'll whip him up, how he'll beat, he says beat the hell out of him. Because what has he done? He's just going there and showing you what is going wrong. That's all. That's his crime. All right. Anyway, some of my guests are here. Joseph Zindiok Pemka, former Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice and former MP for Timpani. The Honorable Inusa Fuseni, former Ranking Member, Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of the 7th Parliament of Ghana. Martin Pebu will join us via Zoom, and another lawyer may also join us via Zoom to help us with the discussions. But I just want, we wanted this to be like part of my take session. We just have a commentary, journalists just talk and move away. But I can't see you especially having been in this area, in the sector, and all of us having come to know what you suffered as a result of this. Okay, I'll come to you. I understand that we have a little difficulty with your microphone. Now, Penka, is it because we are in towns, we sit in Accra, we can afford bottled water, so-called purified water? Is that the reason we can't, with all the powers of the state, awesome powers of the state and resources, we can't fight and win, you know, over illegal mining by a very small minority community of this country?
Thank you very much, Samson. And my big brother is here. Good morning to him.
Good morning.
The cherished viewers, particularly to the good people of my constituency, Timpani. Samson, I have sat here with you.
Yeah.
And I stated, and I want to repeat today, that the fight against Galamsey is more difficult than the fight against corruption. I have said that, and I repeat that the fight against corruption is less difficult compared to the fight against Galamsey. And that we are nowhere near winning the battle against Galamsey. In fact, I will say that we have just started the battle. Go to the rural areas. You and I come from up north. At this time of the year, Samson, the majority of the young men are not at home. They're all down, looking for gold. I made a statement recently, and I said that even education in some of the areas is being affected greatly because the young ones are no longer prepared to go to school. They want to cut corners and do Galamsey and make money. I was telling a story, and I know as I state this, it will be discussed in some villages. A young man came home recently with a Land Cruiser, V8, with 3 guards. What is his work? Galamsey. You have a mass movement of the young ones from the rural areas to the Galamsey communities. And I have not, to the best of my knowledge and belief, heard of any arrest of those people. They all come back home to acquire assets and put up houses. Samson, the fight against Galamsey, we haven't scratched it. It is a fact.
But you see what you just mentioned. And like I said, guys, because this is sort of a part of my take, I have the right to run my commentary. So, my village, Gambibgo, there is a dam.
Yes.
That dam has been drying up for a while now. When that dam was there, and I had the opportunity to live in the village for upwards of 3 years, during the dry season, we had a source of livelihood.
Yes.
We will go, do irrigation, tomato, all the other, leaves, and we'll get money out of it. But now that dam is dried. So what do you want that man who also the rains have not been as reliable, who didn't really get anything during the rainy season, how do they survive?
There are so many alternatives, to be honest with you. I know that one of the ways is to put back that particular dam you're talking about and many others in shape to ensure that we attract these ones to stay there and work. That's one of the ways. But let me give you an example. As we speak, when you go to a place like Agogo in the Ashanti region, a large number of young men from the north have migrated there and they are doing onion farming. As we speak, some of them have transplanted, others are nursing seedlings and all that. And then by July, August, they harvest and they make a lot of money without any destruction of the environment. But you see, the difference is that whatever they are going to make out of that is far less than what the Galamsey will make over a period of a week or even 2.
That's why the state has a responsibility to redirect their energies and attention. First of all, sanctioning the wrong and also providing the proper livelihood alternatives.
Again, I agree with you, but this is the difficulty. And let me state this. You see, he indicated that they even use drones at certain points to be able to capture some of the devastations that actually went on. Let me indicate this to you, that some of the areas where the Galamsey is going on, it will be difficult for even the security to have access. Because you have about 30 kilometers outside of the road that a vehicle can ply into the bush. Somebody is there. How are you even going to know that the person is there? If not for maybe the help of a drone, that you'll be able to sight these people.
If a journalist will know, the security must know better.
No, that's what I'm indicating to you is that what Erastus has actually reported.
Erastus with multimedia vehicle pickup can access those places. They must have better access.
This is why, you see, what Erastus is reporting, let me be honest with you, he probably hasn't reported 30% of devastation. That's what I'm trying to indicate to you. He hasn't reached certain areas where the devastation is going on even beyond what he would have contemplated. So, to be honest with you, we are just looking at it by the roadside. Some of the pictures that were shown are by towns and villages and all that. But some of them are deep in the forest, deep in areas where we have not had access routes. And they can walk for 20 kilometers with food and go and stay in there, that you won't have access unless maybe you use drones. So it is a very difficult fight, really, to be able to win.
Honorable Minister Hussaini, so here, we have seen champagnes, and he's talking about them in the hundreds. How can there be any excuse by the duty bearers for that? Are champagnes allowed for legal mining?
Samson, first of all, I think I need to thank you. I was listening to you, and I could see something of annoyance when Erasmus was reporting, and a level of exasperation. You nearly threw your hands in the air.
No, I'm in a country where my president says he's put his presidency on the line, and even that this is the result.
Yes, and so I perfectly understand you, and anybody who has been committed to the fight against this level of illegalities in our mining sites will be annoyed. It's entitled to be annoyed. My brother Kwenka, long time. I've not seen you for a very long time. But Kwenka, what is happening in the mining sites is simply a manifestation of corruption. So you would say that fighting corruption might be more easier than fighting Galamsey. You are stating that the fight against corruption can never be
A
succeeded.
patriot like Professor Frimpong Boateng is trying to help.
Yes.
Look how he's being mauled by his own people, even at the presidency.
So fighting Galamsey, just like fighting corruption.
And now he's being scared with, nuisance suits.
What has even aggravated the situation is because of the corrupt activities of officials closer to government. So it's corruption. Back to your question. Shamfans are not, by the laws of this country, permitted on water bodies. So if you see a shamfan anywhere on any water body, that's an illegality. Simply, prima facie, that's illegality. And it's one of those strict liability offenses. The only time that you can see a machine on a water body is when the machine or when authorities are doing legal dredging. And even with that, you recall that when in around 2006, there was some dredging carried out by government, people were brought to buy the sand because they didn't want it to go waste. That's dredging. There is no any other way that a contraption like Shamfan can be on the water body. And so, in 2013 or thereabouts, 2012, 2013, when I visited Chichewere and I went to see the River Pra, I saw 5 Shamfans on the River Pra. I was in the company of the district chief executive. And then the Bevlo Lati, who was in the National Security Advisor, was also there. I simply could not understand how a district chief executive could pretend over the commission of an illegality. And he could not pretend not to know of the existence of the Shamfan on the water body. In fact, when we returned to Accra, I recommended that he be sanctioned. And he was sacked from office. Because you need to approach the fight against Galamsey, against illegal mining, as if you are confronting a foreign enemy. Why? Because Galamsey and illegal mining attacks all the facets of our life. You recall when we were in Parliament, we had to debate the threat by the European Union of banning cocoa exports from Ghana. Why? Because we had breached the sanitary and phytosanitary conditions. Simply put, they had found that we had not met the standards and that there were traces of elements in our cocoa beans. That was striking at the economic heart, foundation of this country. Now, Dr. Sampeni, and even before Dr. Sampeni, we had known that hard metals, when they lodge in the body, cause havoc, cause destruction, cause cancers, interfere with the development of babies. We had known that. And I say that anybody who visits hospitals in the mining areas will be left in no doubt that we have to do something against Galamsey.
Give us an idea what you mean by when you visit hospitals in the mining areas.
When you go to Obuasi, when you go to even to what's the name of that place? Kibi.
What do you see?
You will see deformities. Babies born with deformities. Short limb. Okay, big head. You will see babies
abnormally big head.
Abnormally big head. Okay, the pregnancy complications because of the development. Anything that impedes the development, because nature is saying that at times
these people live in communities where this is happening.
This is happening.
They have chiefs. They have local authority, political leadership. So the leadership has failed. The chiefs have failed.
So that's why I have always said that fighting Galamsey should be a multi-stakeholder responsibility. Now you get all of us involved, everybody. But the responsibility, the primary responsibility lies with government. First of all, lies with government to be able to bring together all the stakeholders. Second, to demonstrate that it is really committed, because it is government, it is the president who swears on the Bible, in the case of our presidents that we have had so far, to uphold the laws of this country. So any president has a responsibility to uphold the laws of the country. So enforcement is a duty.
Operation Vanguard all started well, didn't they? And then they got infiltrated or hijacked. The military officers, their bosses who are supposed to ensure, some of them were now rather the ones who are pushing these things.
You know why that happened? When water stays in the bottle for long, guess what? So that's why you need a multi-stakeholder approach.
We are told of military officers who have left the military, resigned, so that they can go and do Galamsey. After they have gone there, their bosses have sent them there, and they've been sending money to them weekly or monthly.
Yes, so that is why you don't rely on only law and order.
So what's wrong with us?
Because we're not getting the strategy right. The strategy to fight Galamsey, I went to Chichirwe. Communities there, people there.
Something, is that scary?
It's scary.
Let me tell you something. A young man told me that he put up a house for someone who was aiding him to do Galamsey. I am telling you this.
So that's the corruption we're talking about.
Somebody aided him to do Galamsey. He put up a house for that person in Accra.
You see, so Samson,
Honorable, you know that these big people, so to speak, when the media gets to do some story and their name, they are so quick to run to the court to file a suit.
File suits.
Now, I've discovered something which is true. Look, it is not everything that you take to court, and it's not everything that, what the court pronounces is actually the reality.
Yeah, because of the evidence issue.
So some of them, they are in fact involved. But because you cannot exactly trace them to it, they are using people who are fronting.
Yes.
They are not using themselves, their names and stuff. You can't. So the least thing you say about
beneficial
them,
ownership type of thing. They don't see them actually in the
yes, so it's not everything that you send to court. But the judiciary, where are they? They are sitting in their homes, far removed from the Galamsey sites. You need a national security minister, or the president, or somebody to conscientize them, to know exactly what is happening, so that they can appreciate. If not, if they are going to follow the strict requirements of the law.
Officially, over 50,000 Chinese nationals have flooded this country. We keep arresting them in the hundreds. What happens?
And so, if Chinese nationals are, and that's why I spearheaded the amendment review of the Minerals and Mining Act, because the laws were so weak. You could arrest an illegal miner, he goes to court, he's fined, he pays there and goes back the next day. So we said, well...
And when the president supervised the further amendment,
yes,
you remember what he said? That we don't want to leave the discretion to the judges.
Yes. So because the discretion of sentencing to the judges, and so we can't trust them. But you don't, when that thing happened, when a special assistant at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources aided and abetted somebody to commit an illegal activity in the mining sites, they choose not to charge him with the offense under the Minerals and Mining Act. They chose to charge him under the Criminal and Other Offences Act, and that was defrauding by false.
The law is as good as it is implemented. Interesting, but really very depressing. Okay, so we'll move on from here. This was intended to be sort of a preliminary thing, but
Samson,
clearly it's most important.
Look, the whole country is covered. So when you enter this country, if you're a foreign object and you enter this country, we know. So you cannot say that people in the deep of the forest are beyond the watch of the country. No, that's the first thing. Second thing is that why do we have drones? You know, it was on this your platform. I think you were hosting the program over there in your old building when I said that we should look at the possibility of introducing drones. I was lambasted. Why? I had gone to Holland and I had seen Malaysia use that technology. Not that the technology will fight the Galamsey, but the technology will give them real-time information. Location of where the Galamseyers are, so that the military...
Some of these recent stories, babies in Galamsey areas are being born with one eye, without genitalia. Death by dust. Illegal gold miners in Ghana dying from irreversible lung damage. You know?
So you got real-time information, so you can go on.
So we are not saying that nothing has been done. We all can see that the fight was elevated. However, what is the use if the end does not show us that the fight is making any progress?
I think I have
so, Mr. President,
small point
you put your presidency on the line. By the evidence, you should be hanging up because it hasn't worked.
It's a small point I want to make about this matter. Senior, you see, I think what happens, and we have to change from today, is that when we go and clear these people from the sites, there is no way of following up to ensure they don't come back. That's the weakness I have identified.
The Minerals Commission boss has been on this platform.
Yes.
He was here the last time. Spent time here. He's been on Joy FM spending, many, minutes. And he insists that largely they have done a great job. I say such heads of regulatory entities must be the first port of call by the president to show us that he's serious. They have actually bought the drones. No excavator is supposed to move to a mining site without the Minerals Commission's knowledge, because money is being paid regularly for tracking devices. So that if a machine moves, you must know real time where the machine is going. So all these people, you sack them. Empower these places with people who can do the job and show you the results. If you can't show us the result but talk, you sack them.
Empower your district chief executives. Let them work with the district secretary. Get them to report directly to you if you are really committed. Because the district chief executive cannot pretend not to know about illegal mining activities in his district.
The district chief executive, the money that should go to the district, gets spent in Accra. They are part of the common fund. When it comes, it is time for it to be disbursed. They get zero.
That's what I'm saying.
And they will talk to us privately, but they won't speak up.
Empowering them means that
there will be duplication of sanitation programs. That the presidency here will determine that in my village in Gambigo, a certain Zoom lion or something must do a certain sanitation program there when they don't need it. Okay? Yeah. And they would have paid upfront in Accra. Yeah. And then they'll say there's no money to give you. Yeah. So how are they?
No, they will say that they have spent your money has been spent in doing A, B, C, D. Just like the 1 million per constituency.
Okay, I really meant